Praise the mighty Yah. Welcome back to the house of Yahudah. I'm Minister Mike K. Israel. Thank you for coming back for the second portion of today's Sabbath services. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up with a reading from Psalms 90. Open from reading from Psalms 90. Let's turn to Psalms 90. Praise Yahweh. We'll all read a verse from Psalms 90 together. I'm going to start at the first verse. I'll let everyone get in because we are coming back from our break. Hope everyone's break was good. Praise Yahweh. So let's now turn to the book of Psalms chapter 90. And then we'll all read a verse together. Alright, I'll start with the first verse. It reads, Psalms 90. Yahweh, thou hast been our dwelling place in all generations.
Before the mountains were brought forth, or ever thou hadst formed the earth and the world, even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art Elohim.
You turn man back to dust and say, return, O children of men, for 1,000 years in your eyes are like yesterday that has passed, are like a watch in the night.
Thou carriest them away as with a flood. They are as sleep. In the morning they are like grass which groweth up.
For we are consumed by thy anger and thy wrath, and by thy wrath.
Skip verse 6. We're in verse 6.
In the morning it flourished and groweth up. In the evening it is cut down and withereth. For we are consumed by thine anger, and by thy wrath are we troubled.
Thou hast set our iniquities before thee, our secret sins in the light of thy countenance.
For all our days are passed away in thy wrath. We spend our years as a tale that is told.
The days of our years are 80 years and 10, and if by reason of strength they be 80 years, yet is their strength labor and sorrow, for it is soon cut off, and we fly away.
Who knows the power of your displeasure and your wrath according to the fear of you? Teach us to number our days, and let us bring the heart to wisdom.
Verse 13.
Return, O Yahweh, how long? And be sorry for your servants. Satisfy us in the morning with your commitment, and let us sing for joy all our day.
Get ready, excuse me.
Make us glad according to the days wherein thou hast afflicted us, and the years wherein that we have seen evil.
Reveal your work to your servants, and your splendor to their children, and let the pleasantness of Yahweh, our Elohim, be upon us, and confirm the work of our hands for us, or confirm the work of our hands.
Praise Yah. So we just did a reading of Psalms 90. Does anyone have a question about that? Or is there any particular verse in Psalms 90 that you want to talk about? verse 17, and it says, "And let the beauty of YAH, our Elohim, be upon us, and establish thou work of our hands upon us. Yea, the work of our hands, establish thou it." So it's letting us know that we get our beauty from the Almighty and how He has established our work. And you know, once you have a foundation that you can build on, something that you can definitely call into play, it's easier to work off of that. I know that we just had a discussion on our breakdown, a break time, about the foundation of how people are raised. And one of the things that came up was, is chivalry dead? Do we believe that chivalry is dead? Do we believe that there are people out there without any core instructions or core values to do the little things like open the doors and pay for meals, or, you know, just something as simple as when you're asking someone a question, please and thank you. Do we believe that people aren't set up to do that anymore? And if you are a man, even though you were made in the Almighty's image and He has established Himself in you, if you are a man, do you consider yourself a simp? Or if you still do those things, if you still are opening doors and saying please and thank you. And women, do we consider our men a simp if they do those things? Are they just the nice guys that finish last? What do we feel about them? Is it not, like it says in Scripture, established where the Almighty has put certain things in us that we should respond to? And what does that say about us when we don't have a small expectation of someone that can even say please? Or someone, you know, is it okay that someone barks orders at us or tells us to do things? Or is it okay that they make it as simple as that? But if we are established by the Almighty, if we are established in His commandments, wouldn't it just stand to reason that the simple things wouldn't be taken for granted? That we do know how to say thank you, and we do know how to say please, and we do know how to ask graciously, and we are grateful for things. So verse 17 sticks out to me just for that reason. Does anybody else have a verse they like? Okay, I will turn it back over to the moray. Oh, I'm sorry, were you going to say a verse, baby?
Yes.
Verse 7, what does it say?
It says, "For we are consumed by thy anger, and by thy wrath are we troubled."
So what does that mean to you? We are consumed by our anger.
It means to me like our anger is eating us. Like,
There is a scripture that says, anger rests in the bosom of fools. It is okay to be angry because it's one of the emotions and the feelings that we were installed with when the Almighty created us. But it is not okay to let that anger rest, because then it festers, right? It makes you want to do things out of anger, and you step outside of yourself sometimes if you get too angry. So it should never, no emotion should fully rest, because it'll start resonating. But if it visits you, that's okay, because we are human and we all feel things. But now I'm going to turn it back over to the Moray. Hallelujah.
Praise the mighty Yah. Forgive me for stepping away. I got choked up. And took me a minute to get myself back together again. But I have this cough and this just the most. And you're right. Thank you, baby, for stepping in, cuz I had to step away. So okay. Now what we're going to do is, now that I got my composure together, thank you for stepping in, baby. I appreciate you doing that.
Problem.
Thank you.
And he's not a simp for saying thank you.
Okay. You know me. You know. Thank you. Alright. Now what we're going to do is, let us rise for the singing of the Shema. We'll face the east. Praise Yah. Shema Israel. Shema Israel. Yah Eloheinu. Yah Eloheinu. Yah Eloheinu. Akkad. Akkad. Excuse me. Shema Israel. Yahweh Eloheinu. Yahweh Akkad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh Elohim, Yahweh is one. Amen. All right, thank you. Sorry for being a little off. All right, before I go any further, are there any questions anybody may have? I don't know if, can you sit over by the computer and just watch it? You can take the chips with you. Just in case anybody has any questions or thank you, I appreciate you, sweetie. Any comments? Right. Now before we took our break, we had a discussion on judging a book by its cover. And the point that I was wanting to bring out was the fact of when it talks about judging a book by its cover, the question that I had actually written down here was, what if the cover of that book is designed to fit the so-called stereotype of judgment that's going to be set on me? Am I, as the world, wrong for judging an individual by how they present themselves? There was a saying that I heard a few weeks ago that says that how you design yourself is how the world's going to treat you. So if you design yourself to be in the image of a thug, then is the world wrong for automatically putting you in that particular category? If that's how you're presenting yourself. That's why I'm going to say, when people say, man, I ain't telling nobody how they should dress or nothing like that. But what I am saying is, how you want the world to perceive you, your cover should match who you are. If you're whimsical, and you okay with the world reviewing you as whimsical, then you walk around with a magician's cape on and a top hat and a skull cap, if that's what you want to do. If you want to be perceived in a serious sense, to be taken serious, then how you address your cover is how the world's going to perceive you. Any comments on that? Any questions? Is anybody on? Okay. Very good. So what we'll do now is, let's go ahead and go into the book of Job. And if anyone has questions or anything like that, feel free to ask. We're going to the book of Job, chapter 5. That's the chapter we're going to go into. We're going to start at the first verse. But we're in the book of Job, chapter 5. Now, mind you, in chapter 4, that's what we read last week. Job's first friend opened his mouth and sort of was doing a lightweight reprimand of him during the time of his loss. Now we're going into chapter 5. So in the book of Job, chapter 5, Elijah, will you start reading at the first verse, please?
Call now, if there be any that will answer thee, and to which of the saints wilt thou turn? For wrath killeth the foolish man, and envy slayeth the silly one. I have seen the foolish taking root, but suddenly I cursed his habitation. His children are far from safety, and they are crushed in the gate. Neither is there any to deliver them. Whoso harvests the hungry eateth up, and taketh it even out of the thorns, and the robber swalloweth up their substance. Although affliction come not forth of the dust, neither do trouble spring out of the ground. Yet man is born unto trouble, as the sparks fly upward.
Now, man is born into trouble. When we come forth through the womb, we're brought into a world of pain, anger, frustration, and hatred. That's why it's important to set your core values about yourself so that you don't become victim of that society. So that you don't become a victim and fall by how things are structured around you. When everything around you is moving fast, sometimes it's good just to stand still so that you can regain yourself, and become the person that Yahweh wants you to be. Continue reading.
Okay, Yet man is born unto trouble, as the sparks fly upward. I will seek unto Yahweh, and unto Yahweh would I commit my cause, which doeth great things and unsearchable.
Marvelous
things without number. Who giveth rain upon the earth, and sendeth waters upon the fields, to set up on high those that be low, that those which mourn can be exalted to safely. He disappointed the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise.
So in other words, those that create these wicked inventions, I ain't talking about, stuff like the gun and things like that. Just the things that they do to try to keep us down. Eventually, Yahweh is going to, you know what? Let me ask this question. Why do y'all think that a lot of the devices that's created against us work? Yes, sir.
I believe they work is because the enemy, if enemy's gonna try to study you in order to defeat you, and the enemy studies us, and he knows what we like and he knows what we don't like, and so they keep pushing that out and out, like on YouTube. Like I've been watching videos on YouTube basically about how I guess we're being, not everybody, but most people are being programmed, and I've been guilty of this, and I'm still guilty of it.
Right.
Heard of what we think we become, right? So look on YouTube. YouTube is probably I'll probably say the first or the second biggest distraction for us as people. It's good to code, but so when we look up a video, right?
Right.
Say you look up a video of golf fighting. When you go back on YouTube the next day, that's all you're gonna see is videos of golfing. So what it's doing is it's programming. It's programming you. And you think you're programming yourself, is actually YouTube programming you. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it. So then that means
so what we see on YouTube is programming us.
so then basically excuse me. So then basically what that means is, if that's the case, then that means we need to sort of structure what we're watching in. Because if I know that that's happening, then what I want to do is structure things that's going to help build my mind. So it's not excuse me, it's not necessarily YouTube. It's what we're watching on YouTube that's got us programmed. But I get what you're saying. So
What was your original question?
the original question was, why do these devices work against us?
Because we're a device that works against us.
True. That's another thing. We work against ourselves. One way we work against ourselves is we don't like to listen. We ask a question and don't want to accept the answer. And what I mean by that is, there's nothing wrong. Let me say this. There's nothing wrong with questioning. There's nothing wrong with it at all. But if you are a person who, you know what, I'm going to leave it at that. You're right. Someone who we're a device against ourselves. So what are some ways that we can break having these devices work against us? Yes, sir.
Easier said than done, but
Pause. Don't walk into the answer with a defeatist mindset. Just give the solution. So I'm asking again, what are some ways that we can get out of this, out of having their vices work? So let's try it again.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of what?
The distractions.
Get rid of the distractions. Very good. And how do we get rid of distractions?
By eliminating them.
That's just another way of saying getting rid of them, but how?
Stop falling into the trap of it.
How? The best way of getting rid of a distraction is not allowing it to be a distraction. So, let me ask, how do we avoid, okay, in some way, shape, or form, in all of us, we like a little drama, right? Most of us do. Not all of us, most of us. So, the first thing we have to do is to stop these distractions from working is to realize, like you brought out, that they're distractions. If you come home, let me say this. I think one of the biggest distractions to us is these electronics, cell phones. Let me explain something to you. I've even caught myself sitting down and I'm watching TikTok videos because I'm somewhere bored. I'm watching TikTok videos because I'm looking at them and I'm sitting down and I'm looking at the next one and then the next one and it'd be something stupid, a cat and dressed as Superman, something dumb. You know what I'm saying? Watching people do flips in rectangles and triangles and not touch the line, like stuff like that, like, ooh, I'm kidding. But they serve a purpose, but they are big distractions. Try to take one away from these young people. Remember when, in school, students couldn't have these in the classroom? What happened if the teacher took it? How many times they'd be like, and you being nice. They'd be like, you F you. How many times did Mr. Israel have to be called down because somebody I've seen students have their phones taken away and they crying like they got shot. Tears. These are distractions. And y'all don't even, I'm looking at the young people, y'all don't even use them right. You know how listen, these are computers. Did you know that? You got a whole internet on here. You can type in a whole question on your homework and get the answer and how to break it down. But y'all don't use it for that. Y'all will sit there and look at a problem like this for hours, but you're on your cell phone looking at TikTok. Why don't you type in the question and see if you get the answer? I've had to do that a few times with my daughter's homework when I would help her. I don't help her as much now because she got it together. But my wife was most, but when I had to do it, it was like, okay, let's see what Siri, you understand? Yes, sir.
And also, I realized, well, technology also takes the fun out of things sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm gonna be honest, I like going to the grocery store in person. Like, I live, going in there, getting the stuff. Now they got it to where, all you gotta do is press a button. I only did it one time. That's because of, I guess, I only did it one time.
Mm-hmm.
But you got it to where now you can just press a button and then they'll send it to your door. Now that's kind of boring.
Yeah, they got it now to where, Now some people need that because you got some people who it's hard for them to get around. But then you got people who just fat and lazy and don't want to do nothing. So all they want to do is just, they don't want to be. But these devices here, they have taken away from human interaction. Human interaction is being messed up. Sister Angela, Sydney,
Yes.
do y'all remember when you used to write letters to each other? Not to each other, but when you used to write letters. You ever wrote letters?
It's a love start.
Now, send. It takes it away. Even if I send a message saying, I love you, then you mad at the message because the autofill you putting in the person's name, they telling you it's wrong. But when you wrote a letter, it was personal. See, let me tell y'all something. Y'all won't realize how beautiful it was when we as boys, when we liked a girl, we wrote you a little note. Now we just text you. We FaceTime you. I don't get it, we used to have time to miss you. Now I can just call you and FaceTime you and you right there. So this has made us kind of lazy. But it's a necessity in a sense. Yes, sir.
Actually that, back then, in this times right here, imagine the adventures they went on. You had to go through the jungle to get to where you need to go. That was probably pretty fun besides approaching a tiger or something like that. Mm-hmm. That's not fun for most people. But I believe it just takes the fun out of things. So
it does. It does.
If we got rid of if all the technology was off this earth, how would people react? It'd probably be like crap.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all remember when Y2K, when they was talking about the Y2K, how people was going crazy. They was trying to figure out, because when 2000 hit, it was told that everything that was electronic was going to be shut down because everything was going to reset itself and everything was just going to shut down. People was buying supplies and they thought it was the end of the world. But nothing happened, of course. Nothing. So let me ask. Who in here thinks, and those that may be watching, who in here thinks that they could go a whole week without any technology? Hey, sis. Without any technology. A whole week, no TV. You only check your cell phone for your calls and your emails. No TikTok. No Facebook, no YouTube for a whole week. Who could do that for 5 days?
If I really wanted to try, yes.
Okay. What about you, Sister Angela? And I'm not talking about you need this stuff for your job. Because a lot of us work from our cell phones, work from our computers. That's different. I'm talking about your leisure. Where you put your cell phone down and you pick up a book.
I guess, like what my son said, if I tried, I could.
What about you, baby?
I could do it if it wasn't work related.
Now let me get to the young folks. Could you, beautiful, go 5 days without TikTok, Facebook, and all that? You being honest. What about you? What about you?
Well,
5 whole days?
I could, but I couldn't.
Okay. You could,
Yeah.
but you couldn't. Okay. Very good. So it's not that you couldn't, it's that you could, but you won't. Okay. Very good. Very good. All right. But yes, sir. Oh, let me ask you. Could you go 5 days without your cell phone? I'm just gonna put it. I'm gonna make it general like that. Now, I take that back. You know, outside of emergencies, you gotta make calls and stuff like that. You know, because you're a working man, so you gotta have your access. They gotta have access to you. But like TikTok, all that stuff, just no TV for a whole week. Could you do it? Very good. So let me ask this question then. For those that said that, especially our young people, for those that said you couldn't, why? Why couldn't you? And you, let me tell you something too. You are free to talk and ask as many questions as you like, if you have them. Okay? Alright. So I'm asking the question. Why couldn't you go without your cell phone? That's deep. Okay. Okay. Very good answer. Yes, ma'am. Why couldn't you go?
I couldn't go because it's like it's a very much distraction for me, and then if I'm like bored, I'll have like something electronic to like do other stuff, but like it's like
So there are times you're bored?
yeah.
Okay, well, hey, I'm glad she said that. So this is online. We gonna get home and we got a bunch of stuff you can do. It's summer too. Right. You walked into that one, sweetie. What about you? Why couldn't you go a week without your phone? Or without, you know what I'm saying, technology?
Because I will be, like Corey said, I will be bored, nothing to do. Play with my fingers.
Well, that's something to do.
Or just play with my face.
Play with your face. Okay, we'll discuss that later. Huh? That's new for me. Now, outside of you, I know the ladies. The ladies gonna suffer. But why couldn't you go 5 days? Okay, good answer. I don't know. I just couldn't do it. I feel you. But do we see how distracting those devices are? They're super distractive. And we don't even know why we couldn't go without them. We just know we don't want to. Yes, Sister Angela.
I've noticed that I heard the word boredom several times today.
Yes.
And out of the younger people.
That is, yes. Yes, and you made mention of that earlier before we went on break. You're right. And you know why you're bored? Because y'all don't have imagination. Y'all don't have imagination. You wouldn't know. You young. But we had fun. I was just telling my wife, I remember summers I would work for CCY. I would work, make my $400 bi-weekly. Well, that was money for me. I didn't have no children. I didn't have no real bills. This when we had pager. I had a pager bill. Pager bill was like $10. You could buy a pager for like 50. A nice one for 100. You understand? We did things. We went to cookouts. We went to the park. We went outside and we played. We would get mad when it got dark. Like, oh man, before the street lights came on, that was a real thing. So we would be out having fun. We enjoyed being a child. You understand? During the summertime, we out there playing, especially if you go to like a sibling's neighborhood. Like, okay, you going to stay with your grandma. Bang! Tasha live on my grandma's street. So now you outside with Tasha. Tasha out there, she doing hopscotch and double dutch and all that stuff. And you out there watching Tasha. And you know what I'm saying? Then in some neighborhoods, they let you use the fire hydrant. So you getting wet. And then the little center, the public pool, man, what no. Man, we was sneaking into the pool. Not at night, but like when the staff was there and playing in the pool all day. Going to the rec centers and playing basketball all day. You understand? When summer was over, we was actually like, wow. But when summer was over, we was also a little bit more in shape. But now, I heard you messed up in school. So, no video games, no cell phone, and you going outside. Why is going outside a punishment now? Go outside. Put that game on. I want to go outside. When my mom used to punish me, and I, you know what I'm saying? She'd be like, you ain't going nowhere. And I could hear my friends outside playing because they're running my back. You know what I'm saying? And, man, I hate this. I couldn't wait to get off of my punishment. But now, the most fit thing on most of y'all bodies is your thumb. I bet if y'all thumb somebody, you'll kill them. Just cave the skull in. Because that's the only thing y'all work. This is what y'all do all day. Or this. Doing this or this. And the rest of your body is just not good. But these distractions is the reasons why you're bored. You said that, what would I do? They still have libraries. Read a book. Draw a picture. Go outside. Make up a game. You know what I'm saying? Learn how to cook. You said what?
I was thinking about Ding Dong Ditch. Like,
what's that? That's a game you made up, man. That's a game you made up.
I didn't make it up. No, it's where like it's funny. I be seeing it on YouTube. It's
You
funny.
just go to random people's doors and just knock on there, bro.
Oh, that ain't new. We
Yeah,
was doing that coming up. We'd go, especially if the neighbor was the one with the cat lady or the crazy lady who sell the good Dixie. Remember Dixie cups?
Mm-hmm.
Remember Dixie cups?
Yeah.
They was $0.25. And you get this frozen Kool-Aid with a bag of sugar in it. It was just frozen Kool-Aid. And we would, man. And she was the candy lady, Dixie cup lady. That's when we had fun. But what they ended up doing was they created these distractions because it takes away from your imagination. It takes away from you being creative. So the way to destroy from being distracted, I brought out all them points because we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have cell phones. So the way to destroy being distracted is by fillers. I tell you what, try coloring books. How many of y'all here like to color? You like to color? You like to draw? Like to paint? Get you a paint. Get you some paint. Get you a coloring book and color. That go for you two fellas. I'm gonna buy y'all a coloring book. For 5 days, you gotta go in your coloring book. You got color page. No phones for 5 days. Now, the reason that I'm bringing this discussion up is because it's the reason because of the distractions is why our youth are the way that they are. And also, we're distracted from being any better than what our distractions say we should be. And you know what ends up happening? I take away your imagination, and then I put you in a classroom and generalize your education. And when I say generalize your education, that means I'm going to teach you on the same level that I teach everyone else. It's that Albert Einstein saying, if you judge a fish by how it climbs a tree, it'll always think it's stupid. That's exactly, sweetie. A fish cannot climb a tree. The reason for that, because she was like, really? Fish? I haven't seen a salmon in a tree. But the reason what that does is that brings down your esteem. And when your esteem is brought down, when you feel like you stupid, what do you do in class? The one that's the funniest dude in class or the funniest female in class is the one that's struggling the most. The one they call the class clown. How do I know? Because I was a class clown in high school. All I want to do was cap. I skipped school. I was a mess. But I paid for it in the end. Ended up getting kicked out of school to graduate from a school that I did not want to go to. So the blessing is that when you find out that you are a child of the Almighty, now we can build. That's why it's important for us to teach our youth the importance of who they are. Praise Yah. Any comments? Yes, ma'am.
I had a candy lady.
You had a candy lady?
Like when my mom and my little brother, when we were to live in like an apartment, I would help my brother take out the trash, and we would stop by the candy lady and we ask her for candy.
Okay.
Because she was nice.
She was nice.
And she had candy for us.
Okay. She was nice, just not nice enough to know her name. She knew it was candy. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what's up. And she would just give you candy. That's probably what's wrong with you today. You're taking stuff from strangers. I'm messing with you. But all right, any other comments or questions? But thank you for sharing, sweetie. I'm messing with you. All right, very good. Okay, now let's get into some wisdom. Wisdom. Let's look at a few scriptures here. Earlier today, if you were tuned in earlier, I did speak on the whole judging the book by its cover. So that before I move further, did anyone have any comments about that? Judging the book by its cover. Okay. Let's deal with wisdom. Wisdom, write this definition down if you don't already know. But wisdom is intelligence, knowledge, prudence, insight. Sure. Wisdom is intelligence, knowledge, prudence, insight. That's wisdom. to the book of Deuteronomy 28. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, babe, will you read verse 1, please?
And Yah spake unto Moses. You know what? I'm sorry, I'm in Numbers.
No problem. Deuteronomy chapter 28, and the first verse.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yah, to observe to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that Yah, thy Elohim, will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
Praise Yahweh. Now, let me ask this question. Can good wisdom deliver us out of bad situations?
Yes.
Fellas? Good. So let me ask you a question. Let's say that I'm going to use all three of you gentlemen. Let's say that there's a young lady that y'all like. Think she's cute. She might be. And she treats you real nice. When she see you walking in the hallways, when you went to school, she hug you. Hey, how you doing? You see her skating, she likes to skate with you and talk to you. But everybody around you is telling you, yo man, that girl toxic, man. You like toxic? What you mean? So one day you like, man, she ain't toxic, but one day you see her just go off on somebody because they spilled icy on her skates. And she about ready to cut them with with something. But you like, man, whatever. I'm going to talk to her anyway. How would wisdom save you from the drama of that young woman? Yes, sir.
Stay away from. Like as soon as you see some, like as soon as you see some stuff, like stuff that's not right, stay away from her. I mean, I'm not saying you can't say hello if she walked past. Hello, keep pushing.
There you go. That's right, brother. That's right. Keep it. You said it perfectly. Keep pushing. Keep it pushing. That's wisdom. Now Solomon says that money is a defense and wisdom is a defense, but it's the excellency of knowledge. Turn with me to the book of, let's look at it in the book of Ecclesiastes. And let's discuss what do y'all think that means? The book of Ecclesiastes. Turn to Ecclesiastes chapter 7. And then while we deal with this, I want y'all to do me a favor. It's mainly I want y'all to do me a favor. Look up what the word boring means. And then before class is over, we will, I want you to read the definition. But look up what the word boring means. But in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 7, my queen, will you read verse number 11 and 12, please?
Wisdom is good with an inheritance, and by it there is profit to them that see the sun.
Now pause. It's saying, Solomon is saying wisdom is good with an inheritance. Why is wisdom good with an inheritance? Because you use it wisely. In the New Testament, there's a story called the prodigal son. This man had two sons, right? One son, he gave them both before he... Normally, when you give an inheritance, you give it once you die. But this man didn't do that. He gave both his sons a portion of their inheritance to give to them, right? Now, the one son was responsible, and he buried his inheritance. So let's use that as modern day time. Let's say that if he was living during this time, it would have been he took his inheritance and put it in the bank. The other son took his inheritance, excuse me, and went wild. He went out, spent it on wine and probably on women, and spent up all his inheritance, right? So the son who spent up all his inheritance got his money and left the father and the brother, where the brother who put his money away stayed, tilled the land, and helped his father, right? So now this prodigal son that spent up all his money, nobody wants to be his friend anymore. He goes, and then what happens? Parents, what happens when you have that child who, I'm grown, and they get out here in the world, and the world shows them the trueness of itself? What happens when they lose money? Who's the first person they call? That's right. They done spent up their whole paycheck. And who they call? Mama, Daddy, I need, I want, can't you? It's like you raising them all over again. Well, excuse me, that's what the prodigal son did. He came back. When he came back, he was like, Dad, I spent all my inheritance. I don't have nothing. I know I left y'all, but now I need you. I don't have anything. What did the father do? He threw him a party and celebrated his return. And the other son like, where's my party? I done been here with you the whole time, and I put my money away, and he gets the party? And the father was like, well, yeah. I mean, you put yours away. You have it. Basically, he don't have anything. It was a choice. It was a choice. So wisdom. So I don't care what that story says. The one who put his inheritance away was the one that used wisdom. Use wisdom. And continue reading in verse 11, please. I mean verse 12. Yes, thank you.
For wisdom is a defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it.
Okay. What does the 12th verse mean to you? Everybody, I mean, those that, let's look at that verse again when it talks about wisdom is a defense and money is a defense. So let me ask, what does it mean that money is a defense? What does that mean? Come on now. Earlier y'all said it was boring in here. Now I'm giving you a chance to talk and to share your wisdom. Now talk. It was up here earlier. It's so boring. I'm bored. and especially my man, I'm bored. Man, go to sleep. I'm bored. So now I'm giving y'all all a chance to share. What does it mean when it says money is a defense? Yes, sir.
Because when that money talks, people, they agree with you. But when it doesn't talk, they don't agree with you. So meaning that you can get bodyguards. Like say if somebody got a problem on the street, you can get bodyguards to protect you. And you can hire people. Say if you're not a good cook, you can hire chefs. So
Okay. So in that case, you're saying money is a defense because it can buy you things that can protect you. That's what you started out with. So, okay, good. Anybody else? What does that mean that money is a defense? Let me say this. What does Solomon mean by that? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Probably that you think you can find your way out of things.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, ma'am. Sister Angela.
I don't know, some people think they can buy happiness. It's temporary happiness, but
Good point. That's a good point too. So, like you said, money, and then, like you said, temporary happiness, and being able to buy defense, literally. That's a good point. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
It can be a defense against you crime, because a lot of crime is committed because people don't have money.
Very good. Very good. What about you, gentlemen? What do you think it means? I know, let's see, you ain't out there working 30 hours a day for free. So what do you think that means? That Solomon means that money is a defense.
You really should know.
Yeah.
Like, really.
Like money can like buy certain things and stuff.
That's good.
A lot of things.
That's good. What about you?
Money can like buy the stuff that you actually need, and wisdom can like help you like separate from evil and everything.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Now, when we named a lot of the things dealing with money being a defense, a lot of the things were negative. But maybe Solomon didn't mean that to be in a negative sense. When you think about a defense, you think about something that does what? It protects you, right? So let me ask you a question. What will happen if you don't have money to pay your rent with? You get evicted. What happens if you don't have money to buy groceries with? You go hungry. What happens if you don't have money to put gas in your car? Your car will break down. Don't whisper it. You give good answers. What happens if you don't pay your electric bill? Huh? Every night, every day gonna be romantic, ain't it? Every night gonna be a beautiful with candles. So there's a side of money that's needed, right? We need money. We live in a capitalistic society. We need money in order to function, right? Even if you go to an organization that's free, that organization is only free because it may be listed as a non-profit, but it's getting funds from somewhere. Whether it's getting federal and state funding, maybe it's a private investor, it's getting money. So unfortunately, we live in a society, even before there was currency, there was a form of trade. Currency, it being paper money, really is sort of a new concept. It's not new, but it's a new concept. Because prior to, if you worked, like say you worked, right? You weren't going there saying give me necessarily wages. You'd be like, well, I'll do 3 shifts if you give me 3 lambs. Could you imagine getting paid in lambs? All you with at the check cashing place. We trying to cash a lamb. You understand? We getting a loan on the lamb. But then currency was switched over from that to what we have now. Then you have the gold and the silver. And then that was exchanged into the paper money. But paper money now is supposed to be backed by the gold, but because there is nothing there backing the money, it's just paper money, but we still put a value on it. So when it says that money is a defense, it's not just talking about the negative side of money. It's talking about the fact that I need money to pay rent. I need money to live. My wife and sister Angela, we had a conversation here during our break, and we were talking about, the loss of men in the sense of chivalry. And if you are a man, you should have money on you. You should. And it should be more than $2. You should have at least $20 on you. Especially if you're single, it should be more. Because you ain't got nothing to do. But you should have money on you. Not just so you can splurge or put it on someone else, but so you can take care of yourself. So when Solomon is saying that money is a defense, but it's wisdom. Wisdom is what will teach you how to properly use that money. Will teach you how to because here's the thing. Let's take money out of it. Wisdom will help you function. Wisdom will help you and save your life. That's what wisdom does. So we need wisdom. Wisdom is a woman. Wisdom is the one woman I think that most of us as men don't want to talk to. Because it seems like she requires so much. But wisdom is something that we should always strive to get. That's why I said, listen, I challenge you. Don't do a week. Starting y'all willing, MON day. 1 day. No cell phones. No TV. I remember Elder Ezekiel one time said we should try, like during the wintertime and stuff, cut off your heat. Cut off all your electricity and just see how you would function. He said do it for a weekend. I remember he said that. I was like, man, no heat. It's cold outside. But what happens if something hits the grid? All it takes is for the main grid, and I think most of us know what a main grid is. Let me just say, if California ever got hit, the world is kind of jacked up. We are kind of, not the world, but the United States is kind of jacked up. But imagine if everything shuts down. Years ago, y'all was around. Years ago, do y'all remember that windstorm that came through Cincinnati? I mean, it tore up. Y'all remember that windstorm? I mean, it was so bad that people went without electricity for like days. It was that time that Sis had to bring her stuff over to our house.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. They were without electricity for, I'm talking about not a day or two, I'm talking about almost 2 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Guess what, people? They're also already about there cutting food stamps. Yeah. They get ready. Get rid of that stuff. Guess what, y'all? Because of Generation X. I think that's what we are. Z, X, I don't know what we are. But during COVID, where do you think a lot of that money came from that people was getting the stimulus money from? They was taking it from they was taking some of that money from Social Security. So when I get ready to retire, I might not have Social Security. Y'all most likely won't have it at all. That's how it is. I said most likely, I don't know. But the Social Security is depleting. See, right now, y'all don't think like that because you're young. You're like, why would I think about Social Security? I'm thinking about the next TikTok dance. That's why right now, wisdom, and I wish I'd have followed this. Y'all are young. Listen to this wisdom. You making money? Invest some of your money. Put it in mutual funds. Look up how save your money. Out of every check, put away $20. If you do it now, by the time you reach retirement age, you'll be in the millions. Literally, I've seen the numbers. I'm 47. I'm just now getting into mutual funds. It's not too late for me, but I was the turtle in the race. Only thing is, I'm way behind the margin. So y'all willing, when I retire, I may still have to pick up a little job or something. Don't count on Social Security. I know y'all young and y'all ain't what's that. But for those that's working, look at your paycheck and look at all the deductions that come out. Learn to save. You get $10, save $2 of it. Just put it away. Every time you get a couple dollars, put $1 or $2 away. You get your paycheck. I don't know what you got to do and divvy up, but put away $20 that you don't touch. Get you an account that you like. This is my don't touch account. Same for you. Same for you. Y'all are young. Investing in mutual funds now, you can invest $10 a month and still come out on top by the time you retire. See, that's wisdom. You making money? What I would suggest is you research money. I study money. It's a shame that I wasn't smart with money. But if you got young people and you watching, teach them about money. Don't just be like you work and then you die. No, teach them about money. Teach them how to divvy up. Don't let them just spend and spend and spend and spend. Teach them about finance. That's the one thing that's lacking in our community is finance. One day, even if y'all don't ever get married, you got to take care of yourself. And you young ladies, learn about money. You ain't too young to learn about money. You may be 11, you may be 12. You ain't too young to learn about money. Learn how to save. Because I'm going to tell you something. You know what's accomplishing? You save your money and then one day you go, it's a field trip or you want to go to the movies with your friends. I'm going to tell you how rewarding this feeling is. You getting ready to go and your mama be like, your dad be like, here, I'm going to give you a couple dollars. You be like, no, I'm cool. I got it. Before you know it, you done saved out $40. You helping out one of your friends. So Learn about money. The people of the scriptures, Job, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, they knew about finance. They knew how to make money and they know how to keep money. When you get your, let me ask y'all a question. I'm coming to you, Sister Angela. Let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask y'all a question. All I'm going to say is I love my beautiful family. I love my wife. But let me ask y'all a question. Let's say I just got paid. Let's say my check was for $500, right? And I go online, I'm like, I'm going to buy me these J's, man. I'm going to buy me these J's. And the J's are $430. $430. I got $500. But they're on sale for like $430, right? Can I afford them shoes?
No.
Why can't I afford them? They only $430. I got $500.
You're giving up 3/4 of your check, and you still have to make it to your next payday. And you may have responsibilities.
Very good. Anybody else? What do y'all think? Can I afford it? I mean, they only $430. I made $500. And the next 2 weeks I'll make another $500, so I'll be good to go. I just need to get to the next pay period. Can I afford them shoes? What you think, Sister Marie? Because you, my wife, y'all come with a lot of logic, so school me. How about, let's say I'll be like, hey sis, they got them on sale for $430. I got my $500 paycheck. I'm about to buy these shoes. Is that something that I could afford?
I mean, that's something that you will have to be smart enough to decipher. I mean, you have the money to get it. I mean, it's just how bad you want it. I mean, that's something that you have to be smart enough to figure, well, if I get it, it's only going to take me, what, $70, and that's something you have to make a wise decision to be able to do.
I think I think both answers were beautiful. All right, I'm going to ask you. I got $500, I got paid. My check is for $500, right? Now I'm going to take away that you have, I got $500. I want to buy these shoes that's $430. Can I afford to buy them shoes? You say yes. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. What you say? Look, I don't care if you're bored in here. You better wake up, boy.
I say you can't afford them. You only got $30 left.
$30?
Yeah. You said $450, right?
$430.
Oh shit. No, you can't afford it.
Why can't I afford it? I mean, I got $70 in my pocket. Don't worry about it, my brother. Don't hurt yourself. Like, you ever seen Finding Nemo? He was trying to say, he was like, don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt yourself. All right. Well, the answer is, in the financial world, no, you cannot afford them shoes. Because as my wife and sister, excuse me, Sister Maria said, you know, if you got other obligations, that's going to end up, if you can't necessarily pocket that $70, and 9 times out of 10 you can't, because you gotta do what? Even if you're living with a parent, you gotta have your own money for school. You gotta have money for school. You gotta have money for this. You gotta have money for that. The only way only way that I could afford those shoes is if I make twice than what I bring home. So for me to be able to afford a pair of $430 shoes, I would have to make at least $1,100 on my paycheck. Some may say, well, wait a minute, how is that so? Because I need to comfortably be able to budget out to take care of certain obligations. And even if I don't have obligations, what happens if I don't put nothing away? Because here's the thing. If I don't put nothing away into a savings, then all I'm going to do is go back to being broke. And here's the thing. If all I have is $70 left, I still got to get to my next paycheck. So what if I catch the bus? Buses are expensive now. When I was riding the bus, it was $1 and something. When I was younger, it was on the weekends, it was 50 cents, 70s, during the day the time went on. So now I gotta, what if I buy me a bus pass? Okay, now I buy me a bus pass. Right? Okay, so if I'm out, I'm gonna want to eat. So I gotta figure out, am I gonna have enough for you to buy me lunch? And if I say, well, no, I'm gonna buy groceries. Well, that $70 is gone already if you're going to the grocery store for a week. What if I catch an Uber? What if I got an Uber places? Oh, that money is gone. So if you can't afford to maintain yourself and your household comfortably, then no, you can't afford them. Even though you might look and say, but it's not that big of a chunk coming out. But if you can't survive, like say, and then we ain't even talking about the things you see. What happens if the just in cases happen? You understand? Go ahead, Sister Maria.
But you didn't put a stipulation. You just said if you had $500 and the Jordan was $430, can you afford to buy it?
Mm-hmm.
That was your question.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
And like my nephew said, you didn't say now if I have a wife or obligations and this and that, but if you have 500. That's your question. If you have 500 and the Jordan for 430, can you afford to buy it? And he said yes, and I'm thinking, and yes you can. Now if you wouldn't say it now, can you afford to buy it if you have a family obligation? But just answering your simple basic question, yes you can buy it.
Yeah, no, I asked the question. Actually, I based it off of you don't have no responsibilities. But then I just, answered it again and got some, and my question still stands. That even if you don't have a family, you still, and I just threw in there too, now what happens to the just in case? So now you got a just in case that happens. Will you be able to afford the just in case? Nobody knows how much that just in case is going to cost. So in the money world, no, you can't afford them shoes, because if you're thinking, especially if we're a type of person, because even if you don't have any, because I didn't even say anything about a family, I'll let y'all add that in if y'all wanted to add that in. I generalized my question, but even if I had a family, then the answer would still be the same. I would still say no. But even if let's say I live with my mom, you know what I'm saying, and my only expense is going to the grocery store. Can I afford to buy them shoes? Excuse me. Only if you can comfortably survive off of that $70. But then here's the thing. If you spend that and you got $70 left, that $70 still is not surplus. That's still $70 for it just in case. That still ain't free money. You can't pocket that money because anything could happen. So what happens if you say, well, I don't have no, you know what I'm saying, I got, let's say, because let's just say a person don't have no bills. If you don't have no bills or no responsibilities, I still would say you still couldn't afford them. because anything could happen. Anything could happen.
But see, that's your opinion.
No, that's life.
I mean, it all depends on the individual.
Right. I think that.
I mean, I know you said that's life, but it just all depends on that person, the individual person. A lot of people base off of their own thing and everything, so that's not a proven fact that it's just not.
But I agree, just like it's not a proven fact not to think like that. So that's why it's called just in case. Just in case something happens. So in wisdom, it's better to be able to have more to handle than less. So for example, if I make $500 and I want them Jordans and they $430, well, what I need to do is let me take a portion of my check out, put it aside, and maybe 2 weeks from now, I can get them. And some may say, well, what you talking about? Because I'm going to tell you 2 weeks from now, those Jordans are not going to change their status. They're still going to be expensive, and they're still going to be the same level of importance, I guess, to sneakerheads. So, okay, well, let me save up to it. See, a lot of times when we're living on, here's the thing. When it comes to money, we don't respect money enough because we don't understand the process of money. And that's where the wisdom comes in. That's why when it talks about and says here that wisdom is good with an inheritance. Right now, if this man was to give us, right now, every black person in America, I'm not even going to say 5 million. I'm going to say $1 million. If this man was to give reparations and say what part of the reparation is, if you're black, I'm going to give you $1 million. I'll say maybe a small portion of our community would use that and flip that and turn it into more than just $1 million. You get $1 million check. What are you thinking about? More stuff. More stuff. More stuff. More stuff. So I'm not thinking about putting away. So if I got $1 million, I'm going to buy. Excuse me. I'm going to purchase something that's going to benefit me right now. I remember some years ago that question was asked. Minister Alicia had asked that question, like if they gave everybody $1 million, kind of like what would you do with it? And one of the sisters said, well, I would feed the poor. And he said, well, sister. Well, he was like, well, everybody got $1 million. That even includes the poor. So all we would do with that $1 million, I'm going to tell you how destructive we are. All we would do with that $1 million is put it right back into this American economy. When you think about getting $1 million check, how many of us are thinking about starting a black business? When them what was those loans that they gave out during COVID, the PP something loans, people were getting like 20 grand. Talking about they got a business. Now, the feds are coming after them people because they're not showing proof of a business. But I'll tell you what our people was buying, because I was working in the department store at the time. I was security. I ain't never seen so many 60-inch, 50-inch screen TVs leaving the store. People going to shoe stores. Now, this is during the time in the heat of COVID. So where you going to wear them Jordans? Where are you going? Everything's shut down. You understand? That's what we were doing in our community, but that's because we weren't taught the logistics behind money. And I'm not saying I'm a money guru, but what I have learned in dealing with finance is that when it comes to money, if you only have a little bit to work with after spending the majority, now it's one thing if you invest $430 into something and you got $70. Because then if you invest in, hopefully that investment will come back. But a lot of times we as black people, we don't, and I'm not saying all of us, but I'm saying the majority of us, how many of us know individuals that was raised on knowing about how to work money and what the importance of it was? You know what we call black people who want to learn about stuff like that? Now we call them smart, but then we call them, you're trying to be white. You're nerds. Man, you a nerd. How you going? Now I'm coming to the nerd for a job. You understand? But getting into the understanding of money and realizing that money is a defense. You need money. But it's wisdom that supersedes that money. Because you can be wise. It's people, I'm going to tell you something, and I heard this conversation and it threw me. My wife was telling me. She was saying it's people that work at McDonald's that's able to afford, I'm going to use, she didn't use this as an example, but it's people that work at McDonald's that's able to afford a Lexus. You might go, what? And then there's people that work at Procter & Gamble that can barely make car payments. Because the more money we make, if we're not financially educated, the more money we make, all we do is instead of making more investments, we make more liabilities. The more money you make, your mind instantly go to what? I can buy more of this. I can buy more of that. And 9 times out of 10, the things that we can buy are material. That's why other cultures, African cultures, Hispanic cultures, other cultures sort of, yes, a racist Pakistani would open a store in your neighborhood. Yes, they would. And talk about how much they hate black people. And you know what we would do? There's a store here owned by an Arab. There's a same store, same product owned by your brother and sister. Same loaf of bread. This loaf of bread is $1. This loaf of bread is $1.75 at the black store. Who you think we gonna go support? Ahmed. We're going here to support him because his bread is cheaper. We go to the brother and say, man, why your bread more? And I learned this about business. He gotta charge more because it costs more for him to get it. And if it don't move off the shelf, he lose money. It don't cost as much for the Arab. You know why? Because a lot of your distribution stores, the ones in Cincinnati, if you're going down Reading Road, heading toward, if you're going all the way down Reading Road, heading towards downtown, there's a distribution warehouse. Do you know who it's owned by? Arabs. You know who they supply? All the little bodega stores in the city. You know who they employ? Their family. Guess what, people? You know Hook's Fish? You ever seen them when they had them cars for sale in their lot? You know what they do with those cars? They buy cars for their family members who come down to visit Cincinnati. And once the family members go back, they sell it to you. That's the hustle. That's the game. That's why if you spend $430 and you only make $500, you should have the mindset of, I can't afford it. Because it's about, we're in captivity, so we only get ahead if Yahweh allows us to. But I'm here to tell you that wisdom tells you, or should tell you, save up for it. You want them Jordans? Hold out 2 more weeks and they'll still be right there. That's wisdom. Let's look at another scripture dealing with wisdom. Turn with me to the book of Proverbs, chapter 11. You got it? In Proverbs chapter 11, I'm going to have my beautiful daughter read for me verse number 30. Read it loud and powerful.
30.
Yes, ma'am.
The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he that winneth souls is wise.
There we go. The fruit of the righteous is a tree of life, and he that winneth souls is wise. Now, I read this one here. This ain't got nothing to do with money. This is about saving spirits, saving souls. I learned something from Minister Elisha. He told a story. I listened to it today. He said there was a brother that had went and was debating these people, right? That went and was debating these people. And he came up to Minister Elisha and said to Minister Elisha, it was a bloodbath. And Minister Elisha asked him and said, well, where are they at? The brother said, I don't know. And he said, he looked at the brother and said, well, a good warrior ain't going to go to battle if you don't come back with no spoil. And I thought about that. He said, he was talking about when it takes winning souls, it don't come with ridiculing people, making people feel bad. Even though, in all honesty, my elder, that's what he used to do. But he said, it don't come from that. So that's why when I'm talking, I practice. I practice talking with humility. And I want people to know that if you make a statement or you give an answer and I just happen to disagree with it, isn't it okay? I'm asking, is that okay? Because some people take it like it's a problem. That I'm just supposed to be the one that just take it all in. Well, that's not the case. If I disagree with you, I'm going to hold tight to my point. If I agree with you, then I'll go back and I'll study. But how you talk to people, I had to learn that. I thought I had to be this Rottweiler, but no. And I get my points across very well. Praise Yah. So that's what I wanted to talk about with wisdom there. So now let's turn to, let's see. Oh, that's another book. I'm not going to go into that book. All right. Are there any other questions or anything dealing with? Yes, ma'am. You did have
I
it.
just wanted to, and this is just from what I learned working for, when I used to work for Medicare.
Yes.
Worked for them for almost 9 years. And one of the things that I learned was when saving,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's good to save, it's good to start young.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're not taught is your health, taking care of your health, and saving kind of works hand in hand.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say that is because I saw too many times where people will save for their retirement, save for their old age.
Mm-hmm.
And something may happen where they need a surgery or procedure done.
Mm-hmm.
And these hospitals, these doctors, and especially the nursing homes are notorious for staying in your pockets. I saw a person's, their actual life savings got wiped out by one bill. And the sad part about it was the person did not make it. And the hospitals, doctors coming after the family for the money. And I got the call. I think it was a son that called, you know, telling, okay, this hospital is after us for this money. There's nothing left in the estate, you know, but they're still on our backs. And a lot of times when insurance refuses to pay a bill, it's not necessarily the patient they're holding liable. It could be that hospital, could be that doctor, it could be a simple billing error. They were trying to go after, Medicare denied like $500-something thousand of this bill. And they were trying to, of course, like I said, go after the family. And when I looked it up, we were not holding the family liable. We were holding the hospital liable for a simple error. But if this family had not have called us to find out, okay, you know, this is what needs to be done, the hospital needs to make a simple change in the coding or something. If they had the money, they probably would have tried to pay them off. And then, like I said, their entire life savings would be gone. And I mean, I just saw it so many times, and it's sad because you're thinking that you're doing, you know, the right thing by saving your money. But if you get sick or something serious happens to you, they can take it away.
But the beauty of that,
you know, I just feel like, you know, saving your money, but also think about your health, take care of your body. I mean, things can happen. We all want to leave this world one day, but it's just so important to, you know, to take care of your health, because that money can be taken within a blink of an eye.
and you know what? I worked for insurance for 5 years. I worked for a major insurance company for 5 years. And I dealt with claims. So I know exactly what you're talking about. And I dealt with claims and worked with the grievance and appeals teams and all that stuff, had to, so I did the rework for claims. So I understand all that. But number one, when you save money, you're not just saving money that's why I was saying about the just in case. You never know. Anything could happen. Just in case. But it's, and even if it's like this. We live in a capitalistic society. So even if you save, you're going to get hit. Even if you don't save, you're going to get hit. It's just a little worse if you don't have no cushion. And as far as when it comes to healthcare is good. But healthcare is sort of designed to say, yeah, I'm going to get sick. So when you look at healthcare, even the healthcare community, they're going to be like, yeah, I'm going to get sick. So that's why I need you to cover me, because this is going to happen. And then when you look at some of the things like with the heart, like if you go on the American Heart Association website of the food you can eat, like they got processed stuff on there. Like some of that stuff is high sodium stuff. You look at the Cancer Society. Some of the things that aid in feeding cancer, they got on the thing. Pork is highly full of sodium. That's one of the things they tell people to get off of who have certain ailments, high cholesterol, heart disease. They say you gotta leave that pork alone, but it's on their website that you can eat it. So we live in a society that's all about making money. So I agree with you that you have to concentrate on your health as well as saving your money. We do live in a type of society where, and I'm not giving society a lot of power, I'm just stating certain facts, that we live in this type of society that it's not necessarily conducive to good health unless you take it up upon yourself. I know you know that for a fact. I know it. You live in a predominantly black neighborhood. What in that neighborhood is going to be conducive to you being healthy? You got some neighborhoods that might have neighborhood gardens. But you got these guys on the street, they ain't going there like, man, I ain't going in there to give me no chips. I'm going to go to the garden and get a carrot. These dope boys are going to buy hot fries and they go, or they don't eat because they don't want to miss no money. And another part about health, and I'm glad you brought that up, and dealing with wisdom is stress. Stress. That's one of the biggest things. So even if I save out millions of dollars, if I'm still stressing, yeah, that money's going to be gone because I'm in the hospital, in and out the hospital. So that's why we should really start building a relationship with wisdom. She's a beautiful, beautiful thing to have. She is. But I still say, and I'm going to add this in too, like what Sister Angela said, get your health together as well. Because I ain't even think about adding that aspect. Get your health together. Change your eating habits. You, sir, you're too young to be working 80 hours a day. Make enough. Believe me, that money is there. Don't let them people work you crazy. But I commend your gumption. There's a lot of young people that be like, man, before I get a job, I'll be in these streets. And I'm glad, but I really ain't worried about that with you because of who you have. And your father. So I ain't really worried about that. Because you got a great support system. But unfortunately, a lot of our young people don't have a Sister Maria or Elder Nesha or Azariah as a pops. A lot of them don't. So all they have is the streets. But I'm going to tell you, stress will break you down. Worrying about how I'm going to pay this, how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to pay that. But that's the type of world we live in. So I still say you build on saving. Put you something away. It don't got to be a bunch. You young still. You 19. How you what? 15, 16? Man, put $20 away. Just put it away somewhere.
Right.
You don't trust the bank? Give it to you, man. Give it to your grandma, man. Hey, take this. Put this away from me. Right, put this away from me. $20. And I'm going to tell you, once it's gone, you will see that, let's say, and I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not putting your business in because I don't know. And that wouldn't be right for me to do anyway. But let's just say that you got a check that was $600. Here's $20. That's $580 you got left. That's yours. But you starting the savings by putting just $20 away. I don't know how much your checks be. I don't have to know. But let's say you bringing in money, $20. I'm gonna just put it in the bank. Open up a savings account and just put it in the bank. Now, of course, by putting smaller amounts in the bank, you're going to get a low interest rate, type of account. It's not going to be, you're going to make a few cents on the dollar, but start something. Boom, boom, just throwing it in there, boom. And then not even thinking about it. Would you like a card to this? No, I don't want a card. I don't want no checks. I don't want none of that. Just the biggest challenge is not touching it. Because a lot of times we'll put money away and then we'll spend the money we have on stuff and be like, well, I just go into my savings. And then guess what? Now you back at ground zero. The goal is to get to the point of where you put it away and you work with what you have. That's called budgeting. And you're not too young to budget. Y'all like nice clothes? I see it. Y'all be shy. As a matter of fact, y'all family be shy. God, slave, man, y'all be styling. But you budget, right? Write you out a budget. This is what I want y'all to do. Y'all that have jobs, write you out a budget. Write out the things that you have that are a necessity. You have your budget. You say, this is what my necessity is. I buy my own toiletries. You know, I might buy my smell goods. Those may be necessity. Toothpaste, certain toilet papers. You know, when it gets to the food, there's certain breads I like. So I need to have a budget for my bread, for my food. And then you have your budget for your fun stuff. Going to the movies. Your clothes. Well, clothes could be a necessity, but maybe the style of clothes will be something that's okay, that's a little extra for me. So I'll put that on my budget. And you budget out. But while we're budgeting, make sure you're able to keep at least 40 to 50 bucks in your pocket that you don't have to touch. Especially if you don't have no real bills. Because that little pocket money, that can go towards you out. Let's just say you out. And you like, oh man, I missed the bus. You call your Uber. Come get me. You out. Man, I'm hungry, man. I just got off from work, man. I'm hungry. I don't feel like waiting to get home. Oh, you know what? I got some money. Let me stop over here and get me something to eat. Pocket money is what you don't have to touch. But you done took care of your obligations. That's what you do with a budget. And on top of that, you'll find that, man, I got more money to spend and I got money saved too. Oh, that's what's up. Utilize this time now to build a budget before you get out and be like, yo, I'm gonna get my own apartment. I'm getting my own place to stay. It's not smart to be like, I'm getting out and I'm getting my own place to stay and I don't have a budget. You just getting in here and you in this one room apartment. Everything is in one room. You, the toilet's here, the kitchen here. And you can't even afford the $500 rent that they charge because there's no budget formed. So what I would do, or what I would suggest is your brother, y'all set out a budget. Build the budget and start building from there. There's nothing wrong with budgeting, especially now. Because then, by budgeting, it'll teach you how to appreciate the big money when it come in. When you bringing in thousands every week, you understand? Now you know how to work it. And still look fly. That's wisdom. And that's some wisdom I wish I would have had when coming up. Well, praise Yahweh. Any questions or comments? Is anybody on? Are they able to hear? Okay. Alright. So now let's go into my next topic. Well, let's see. Y'all look kind of tired and worn, so I might end class soon. Okay. I was going to deal with Jeremiah, the prophecies of Jeremiah and Leviticus 23, but they're not here, so y'all willing, by his will, I'll deal with that when they're here. So let me go into this next topic then, and then we'll get ready and head out, since y'all look tired. So go ahead question. Who should you blame? Who should we blame for any shortcomings that we have in our lives? Who should we blame for the shortcomings that we have in our lives? Who should we blame? Yes, sir.
What do you mean by short?
Oh my gosh. If you have any shortcomings,
Yourself.
yourself.
Look
If
in
you
the
have,
mirror and point. Yourself. Nobody else.
thank you. If you have any shortcomings, let me take out the word shortcomings. Any issues you have in your life, who should you blame?
Me.
Very good. Anybody else? Who should you blame? Yes, sir.
I would say me, and then a little bit most out there too as well. But
Okay.
mostly me.
Okay, very good. Who should you blame? You have shortcomings, you have issues in your life. Who should you blame?
Just strictly yourself. You can't let the outside influence you to do nothing. But you your own brain. You have your own mind. You have to use it wisely. You can't blame the people you don't know. You can't. You only is accountable for you. Not your mom, not Yahweh, not your brother, only but you. The outside, no. You.
Whoa, you hit a nail on the head, Marie. When you said you blame you.
It's real easy to blame. It's real easy for me to come in here and blame, oh, well, Raymond might talk about this. I didn't like, so I'm going to go do this. No. Just blame you.
That's right.
It's easy to say, just blame you, point blank.
That's right. That is 1,000% right, Sister Maria. Man. Yes, ma'am.
Kelly Love here says we can only blame ourselves for our shortcomings.
Praise Yahweh.
Praise Yahweh. That is the
Yahweh.
truth. But you know who we put everything on? Yahweh, society, everybody but ourselves. Let me ask a question. Let's say I represent society. And I walk into your house with a plate of dog poop. And I say, eat this dog poop. Eat it. Got a gun to your head. And I say, eat this dog poop. If you eat it, whose fault is it?
Yours.
On you for letting them in your house from the beginning.
Ain't that it?
Open the doors and let them in there.
That's true. Yes.
You need to eat the dog poop.
She said you
If
need
that
to.
foolish to do it, then so be it.
You're absolutely right. It's on me. So I had a thought. How when we say I'm not making it in life, maybe it's because Yahweh don't want me to. I'm not here because maybe it's because Yahweh don't want me there. We blame the Creator for everything.
And other people.
Everything and other people. I'm not where I need to be because it's your fault. As parents, to be honest, some parents will blame their children. I could have been a star. I could have been a singer. You chose not to be that way. Am I right? You did.
That's right.
You could have been like, I'm gonna put my baby in daycare. I'm gonna go to my practices. I'm gonna go to concerts. I'm gonna go do what I need to do. You know what? I'm gonna tell you. Years ago, I love spoken word, so I was out here heavy hitting spots up. I mean, if there was an open mic, I was there. I was featuring in some of these spots. So I'm going and I'm doing spoken word, and then I stopped. You know what I said? I said, I stopped because, I felt like it was a young man's game. It was younger people coming in doing spoken word. I felt irrelevant. So I was putting my blame on them when all they was doing was what I was doing.
Right.
They just happened to be younger. I stopped because I stopped. And I had to realize that. So when things don't go your way in your life, that don't mean that Yahweh don't want you to succeed. That means you led by your decisions. You decided to marry that no good man who was out here doing dirt. You decided to marry that woman who can't keep her underwear off the floor. You decided to marry that woman. Nobody told you to do that. If they force you, you still have the choice to say no. But because of whatever you had for this person, you said yes. So once again, full circle back on you. Students in school. Oh my goodness, this is what gets me. Oh my goodness. Y'all do wrong and get mad because you get reprimanded for the wrong you did. The teacher tells you, in my classroom there's no talking. You talking, you get a detention, you mad. I hate this class. Well, you knew walking in. You knew walking in what the rules were. So, in other words, the world isn't messed up because Yahweh is allowing it to be. The world is messed up because of what we're doing in it. If your house ain't right, and I had to think about this one time because Minister Yoel said this before. He said, if your house ain't right, it's your fault as the man. And I was thinking to myself, like, man, it ain't my fault, man. How's it my fault if I'm doing everything that needs to be done? And then he broke it down. And I got it. If my house is out of order, it's my fault because there are things that I'm allowing to happen in my house. I can't say, well, maybe Yahweh, your car break down. Well, this is Yahweh's way of slowing me down. No, it ain't. You saw that check engine light. It's been on for 3 weeks. You ain't had an oil change since you got the car. Now all of a sudden, oh, Yahweh slowing me. No, it ain't Yahweh. You slowed you down, fool. If you're not happy with your life, wake up. If you ain't happy with your life, that's your fault. That's your fault. Yahweh gives us the strength to change the trajectory of our lives. I could be like, you know what? And I was like that. Well, maybe it ain't meant for me to be successful. Maybe it ain't meant for me to be this way. Maybe it ain't meant for me to be this. You know what? I beat myself up for so long that I still suffer from the residual low esteem of beating myself up. To the point where I'm like, did you like me? Do you like me? Could you like me? Huh? Did you like me? I'm going to tell you, some years ago, had you told me class was boring, man, I'd have went on a whole rant with scripture. Now it's like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm trying. I'm sorry. What can I do? I'm not going to dance a jig. I'm going to take my shirt off. Would that help? I've been working out. I don't know. Be up here like, and then turn to Genesis. Is that what y'all know? I mean, I don't know. You know, that Brother Michael class was live. I know my daughter would be disgusted. But Marie was like, But we have the power to change the trajectory of our lives. We have that power. Yah gave us that power. And I'm going to go over some scriptures to show proof of that. Yes, ma'am.
I'm just going to say a couple of things about myself, and then I'm going to read on here what Uriah Israel tells you.
Shalom, Uriah.
Back in the day, before I even had any education, I was working at Kenner's. It was boring. Like he said, this class is boring. I sit there all day. It's a big old barrel. You pick it up, it's this round thing. You peel it off this thing, you put this on, you drop it, you pick, you pour. That was all day. I mean, but it was a job, and I had the family that, help my husband. And I told myself, I can't do this. I said, I know I can do better, and I'm going to do better. So what I did, now if I hadn't found another job, I would have stayed there. Okay, but I did. So what I did, I said, I went to school. I said, if I go to school, I know I can get a better job. And that's what I did. And so when I did go to school, I was able to get better jobs. And when young people come in and say, oh, I can't go to school because I got children. Don't use that. That's an excuse. You're using that for an excuse.
That's right.
An escape. I said, I had 5 children, a husband, and a dog. I worked.
Yes, ma'am.
I worked.
Yes, ma'am.
I went to school and I did work study,
Yes,
and then when I graduated from Cincinnati State, I got hired on there full time. So I could have sit back then at Kenner's and still been in that same slumber. I can't do it because this is all I can do. No. I want it more. But anyway, Uriah, shalom.
Shalom, Uriah.
Uriah says, what happened to Job was out of his control. Hallelujah. And Shabbat Shalom family. So then he goes on to say, I believe to a certain extent we are in control, but some things happen that are out of our control. Hallelujah.
Now, I do agree with that. There are certain things that are out of our control. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I would go out here. I would say that a lot of the things that happens out of our control happens less than what happens to us in our control. I would go as far as to say that. The reason being is because the things that did happen to Job was out of his control. That was a circumstance that's different. Of course, I totally agree with that. But in the same token, we're dealing with the things that we're dealing with the things that I mentioned are things you can control.
Right.
These are things that you can control. You can control the trajectory of making more money by putting yourself in a position to where you can make more money.
Exactly.
You overweight. You know what, before I go there, let me say this. You know what I used to put as a blocker for me? My age. I would say, man, I'm 47, man. I look going back to school. Man, I'm 47, man. Well, look at me trying to get in shape again, man. Well, I wouldn't really say that about getting in shape, but it was mainly about making money and being successful. Man, I'm 47. But then when I hear stuff like Samuel L. Jackson was in his 50s when he made some strides. When I look at the KFC guy, he was in his 60s when he started making money. You understand? So I was putting me aside. And I totally agree with my brother Uriah. Job, that was an instance that he didn't have any control over, but we're dealing with stuff you can control. You don't have to live in an apartment where it's filled with roaches and rats. You don't have to be at a job that you don't like. People say, well, we're in captivity. Look at this. I remember one time we was out of town, and I had told somebody that, hey, don't eat that because it's how it's made. And they was like, well, we're in the land of captivity anyway. No! No, we can still control that. I don't have to eat that. You know how many restaurants I done went to and all I had was French fries? Or something to drink? Or some soup? Because those were some of the only things on the menu that were clean. Now granted, they weren't the most healthy, but I ate them. Because because I was trying to keep the law as best as I possibly could. So you can change the trajectory. You don't have to be in a situation that's bringing you down. You can be in a situation that lifts you up. You just have to change your viewpoint. I'm going to look at a few scriptures, but go ahead, man. You had your hand up, didn't you?
It said change your viewpoint.
Nobody can hear you. Well, I ain't going to say nobody, but so they can hear your wisdom.
See, changing viewpoint, like, I know that I'm about to go back to, I know that the Most High is in places at certain points of time. But we can control what we do, and sometimes we can't control what we do. But sometimes it's best for us to be in that environment.
Well, I need you to give an example of the things that you can't control. Outside of Job.
I can't control the weather. I can't control.
We ain't talking about controlling the weather, brother. I'm talking about an individual. Yeah, anybody talking about controlling the weather, brother? We're talking about controlling yourself.
Oh.
Controlling myself is a chore itself. Trying to control the world is ooh-wee. Name something that you can't control yourself.
Your parent. I mean, not well. Like how you look, like your facial features.
Yeah, you can.
No, I mean like
You searching is what you're doing. You searching so you can just be on the opposition of what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, you can change. You can change. You can. And as far as facial expressions, how many of us done seen the makeover videos? You see the woman, she get on there, she got teeth missing, and she, by the end of the video, she look like a Kardashian. You like, that ain't the same woman. Where'd she get the extra teeth from? Where'd she? Come on now. So you can change. Too Short. He's a rapper. Most of us in here that adults know who Too Short is. He's a rapper. Well, he's a hip hop rapper. Yeah, you know Too Short. He had his front tooth was super chipped. Nas chipped. He got money, changed, got their teeth fixed. They got things where if you got a little pudge, you can get the fat burnt off in a day. Now you can work towards having that V look. All it takes is you believing that you can do it. Now, I'm not saying that we are in control of everything. I'm not saying that Yahweh is not relevant. I'm not saying that. Get that out your head. But what I'm doing is, and what people may have a problem with, is I'm showing you that you're not going to blame Yahweh for your downfalls. You're not. Yahweh didn't tell you to get with this man, get pregnant, and that's not, Yahweh wasn't in the bedroom with you and said, yeah, you need to lay down with him. Yeah, get some of that. Get some of that. And if people want to use Job, we don't even got the same relationship with Yahweh as the men of old had. So what we're not going to do is keep blaming the Almighty for our problems. Things we can control. I can control being overweight. I can control my tongue and being disrespectful. A man can control if his hand goes across the face of his wife. A wife can control her urges of wanting to be with another man. Or vice versa. A man can control these things. We just don't do it. You said it yourself, I think it was a couple weeks ago. When we were talking about intimacy and not being with a woman, but holding back, and we was talking about, men, having the fun time with themselves. And you was like, well, you don't have to do that. You can control yourself. That's what's your words. That's one of the hardest things for a man to do in some cases. Don't be with a woman and all you see is women, and you got to have control over that. So we can control the things that we can control. Now there are certain instances, of course, and maybe let me be a little bit more clear. We control the part of our destiny that we can control, that Yahweh allows us to control. Because 9 times out of 10, very rarely, I'm going to say this. And Yahweh, if I'm wrong, through your wisdom, Yahweh, just, grant me understanding. But the things we foul up on are the things that we have control over. Let's read a scripture. Let's read a few scriptures. Was there another comment on there?
Yeah, well, there's 2 more. Well, Bam
Sure,
Bam,
go ahead.
he said Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, Bam Bam.
And then Sister Cindy said, Shalom. It is totally up to us what our mindset wants us to do. If we don't feel like it's a priority, and we don't bother things that are in our control, it's just not that important to us.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Turn to Genesis chapter 1. I want to shed some new eyes on something. Okay. Excuse me. You know what? I'm going to say this. A lot of the things that we say we don't have control over, I feel is just an excuse for us to keep doing it. People who abuse children, you got a choice. You can say, hey, the Almighty gives you control over that. The purpose that what I'm trying to bring out is that we stop us. We stop us. Let me ask this question. Why don't we have an Israelite school? Why is it when I'm driving up this street, there's billboards all over the place with pictures of Christ saying, I trust you? What are pictures of Yahweh, I trust you? 12 tribes. Be like Abraham. Be like Isaac. Where are those billboards at? You know where they at? I don't know. Because we too busy believing we can't. Because Yahweh don't want us to. Yahweh don't want us to have a school. How do you know? I haven't read a scripture where Yahweh said, thou shalt not build a school. No, it's our shiftlessness and inability to believe in ourselves. That's the reason why we don't have a school. We got little pop-up things here and there, somebody doing something from home. But we got qualified teachers that we could hire to have our own school. Instead of complaining about the schools that our children are in, why don't we create the school? Because do you think Yahweh we want to blame Yahweh for the separation. We say Yahweh separated all the congregations, and maybe he did, I don't know. But it's man that's keeping the separation going. choose, if you got a class over here, that was your choice. If you got one over here, that was your choice. You got here and then another one here. Though all those were our choices. Was it Yahweh's fault when on the Sabbath day I'm coming in here and I'm arguing back and forth with my elder on camera? Was that Yahweh's choice? Or was that my choice? When me and the other elder minister would get into it on the Sabbath day, would that be my choice or was that the Almighty's choice? That was my choice. I could have walked away. I could have kept my mouth and watched my words, but I didn't. When a husband is arguing with his wife, it is his choice to argue with his wife. Satan is an agitator. We don't have to give in to the agitation, but we do. Since we're going to use Job, Satan was the agitator. What did Job do? He kept his integrity. That was his choice. His love and dedication for Yahweh kept him from cursing the Almighty. This man's wife came in and said, curse the Almighty and die. Instead of him saying, you know what, baby, you're right. I lost money. I've lost my family. Baby, I ain't got nothing. You're right, baby. He could have went into a rant. How could you do this to me? Why would you do this to me? But you know what Job chose to do? He said, you sound like one of the foolish women speaketh. What? You only accept good and not the bad too? And it ended with, in all that, Job did not curse the Almighty. He made a choice. In the book of Genesis, chapter 1, sweetie, would you read verses 27 and 28, please?
So Yah created man in his own image. In the image of Yah created he him.
Now pause for a minute. He created us in his image, right? He created us in his image. So everyone in here, look at yourself when you get home and you're the image of an Elohim. Look past what you think is imperfect and look at what's perfect. And that's your image. Because we're made in the image of our Father. Go ahead. 28.
And Yah blessed them, and Yah said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have domination over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth.
Yahweh told us there's a key word. What do you think that key word is in that 28th paragraph? Not replenish. That was a good guess. What do y'all think is the key word in that verse?
Dominion.
There you go. Very good, Sister Angela. Dominion. Yahweh gave dominion to us. You know the same creatures we run from? Little spiders, little frogs. I'm gonna tell you something. Where we live at, there are raccoons, and I learned that when raccoons come out during the day, they're sick. They're sick. They're ravenous. So don't get close. So one day I was out there in my front, on my yard, and from here to maybe the garbage can is where the raccoon was. And them raccoons are huge. You know what he did? I stood where I was standing. He stood. He looked at me. I looked at him. It's like, go on now. He went about his business. He didn't attack. He didn't run up on my yard. He ran across the street and went in the woods. anything could have attacked me. But it didn't. Praise Yahweh for that. But Yahweh gave us dominion over the fish and all the living creatures. He gave us dominion over the birds, over the cows, over the lambs, over all the creatures. We have dominion over them. So would Yahweh give dominion to us if we didn't have the ability to make our own decisions in certain things? What I'm getting at is, if your life ain't going the way that it is, it could be you. It could be you. Now let's go to the next scripture. Turn with me to the book of Psalms, chapter 82. Turn to Psalms chapter 82, please. In Psalms chapter 82, maybe would you read verse 6 and 7? Verses 6 and 7. Psalms 82, starting at verse 6.
I have said, ye are Elohims, and all of you are children of the Most High.
Pause. He said, we're what? He says, ye are what? What did he say? Yahweh said that we are what? Elohims. You know what Elohim means? You know what it means to be an Elohim? It's the English word for God. To be an Elohim, that's strength. That means you strength, the power of effect. Powers. Yahweh said we are Elohims. So that means Yahweh is allowing us to have certain powers, certain control. And once again, this portion is not to take anything away from Yahweh, but it's to make us realize that instead of blaming him, let's start serving him harder. Because just like Yahweh give it, he can't take it away. We learn that. What he give, he can take away too. But if we want our life to be on track, all we have to do is pick it up and place it where we need it to be. And let Yahweh be the guide on our journey. That's all that I'm saying. I'm not saying that we are powerful than the Almighty, because that's what people hear. People hear that. I'm surprised ain't nobody else saying nothing. We ain't got all that power. We ain't got all that. We ain't nothing without him. And we're not anything without Yahweh, because Yahweh makes us relevant. But because Yahweh makes us relevant doesn't mean that he don't allow us to control our own destiny. So in the book of, read verse 7. We're still in Psalms 82. My daughter just read what Yahweh said. I have said, ye are Elohims. We're little Elohims. We're not like him, but he made us to have powers. We don't, half of us, be real. If you knew how great you truly are, think about it. Let me say this. We don't live to our greatness because we don't realize how great we truly are. We only measure our greatness by how society measures our greatness. We're bigger than the swag we rock. That song by India Irie, I Am Not My Hair. If you understand the lyrics in that song, man, you deeper than what's on the outside. Yeah, I might be able to shoot baskets and I may score points and be the leading point guard on my team. But that ain't me. That ain't who I am. That's just what I'm good at. I may be able to get out here and rap, and I may be able to get out here and do poetry, and people tell me I'm good. But that's not who I am. That's just something I'm good at. Until we start realizing how great we truly are, is when we'll start appreciating the Most High. Until then, I don't think we're really going to appreciate Him. That's why and going back to, not to beat a dead horse, but when people say they're bored, you're bored because maybe you don't see that you so much more than what you're finding to be enjoyable. Some of us as men think we got to have a lot of women to have prestige, but you really don't. A lot of money, but you don't. Once you realize that you're better than the things you're giving value to, because think about it. Bless you, baby. Because let me tell you here. You need a tissue. Beautiful. Here, baby. You're welcome, baby. So, and let me tell you that once we realize that we're bigger than the things that we value ourselves by, that's when I feel that we're really going to appreciate the Almighty. Because you're going to realize that Yahweh gave me dominion over the world. So let me carry myself differently now. Because the Almighty ain't going to give no simp dominion over nothing but foolishness. That's what He gonna give him dominion. And look at how the world is ran today. Fools run the world, while the true great people of Yahweh. And you know what I'm gonna tell you? We're so downtrodden that we would much rather hear how bad we are than how great we are. Do I need to beat you down or beat myself down just to be humble? Can I be humble? Let me ask this question. Can I be humble and fly at the same time? Please, can I be humble and fly at the same time? Yeah. Anybody? Yeah. Can I be humble and fly at the same time? Do you know what it means to be humble? To be humble means to be in a state of lowness. Not necessarily sadness, but in a state of being what's known as meek. Quiet. Not putting yourself before others, so to speak. Someone is pretty nice. Is it possible to be humble and fly at the same time?
What fly mean?
Fly. Y'all don't know what fly means?
Well, I'm just saying.
Oh, fly. Dope. You dress nice. You look good. Is it possible to be humble and look good? And care about your appearance? Can you be humble and go get your hair done every week? Can you be humble and get a haircut every week? Can you be humble and spend thousands of dollars on your outfits? Is that possible? Why is it not possible? So, and in order for me to be humble, I gotta be raggedy. Was Joseph a humble man?
Yes, he was.
Now, where in the scriptures does it show that when he was got out of prison, that he refused any of the gold and the riches that he received? Show me where it changed his personality. The reason that those riches didn't change Joseph's personality is because excuse me, he didn't value himself by them riches. I asked a question. I said, is it possible to be humble and look good?
Yeah.
There you go. I knew I was going to get that from sis. I knew that. That's right. I'm in agreement with you.
Brother Joel was a very humble man, and he stayed fly every time.
Boy, when we used to wear them suits, man, and you right about that one. And then that's when I went into Joseph. When you read about Joseph, when he got back when he was taken out of the prisons, Joseph wasn't giving no rags. Sister Don broke that scripture down. Joseph was given riches. He had to have like vaults and stuff to put his riches in. Abraham, you want to read where Abraham was raggedy? Because you choose to get your hair done and get your sisters want to get their hair done and y'all get your, fellas, we go out, we get ourselves well groomed and haircut and, you know what I'm saying, we fresh. That don't take away from your humility. Ain't nothing wrong with you being like, man, I'm okay. Just as long as you know that this don't make you great. This makes you look good. But Yahweh said, we're in Psalms 83, in verse 6, my daughter just read, where he said,
82.
82. Thank you, baby. Thank you. In Psalms 82, in verse 6, the Almighty said, ye are Elohims. So what you see before you today is an Elohim. Not Elohim as magnificent as Yahweh. But he made me and he gave me powers. Now I'm not saying I'm out here fighting crime or nothing like that. But when you look in the mirror, you see an Elohim. We're little Elohims. In the book of Psalms 8, you don't have to turn there. The Almighty, the psalmist said that he made us just a little lower than the angels. You understand? So he made us into Elohims. Read verse 7.
But ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes.
Because of how we're walking, we're going to die like men. So right there, why did I use that as an example? I used that as an example to show that Yahweh, he gave us powers. He gave us the ability to form our destiny. Now, of course, as was stated earlier, there are things that are out of our control. But there are a lot of things that are in our control that we don't even execute. There was a movie called Lucy. I don't know if anybody ever seen it. It was this movie called Lucy. And the girl that's in it was the girl that plays Scarlett Johansson, is her name. She's in it. She's Lucy, right? What happened was she got caught up in this and becoming a goat and someone that's used to smuggle drugs. Well, she got caught up with this guy, or she got caught up with this group, and they ended up doing surgery on her, and that's how they were smuggling in the drugs, right? It was this drug they were smuggling in. They smuggle in through the person, and when they get to the destination, then there will be a surgeon there to remove the drugs and send her out of her way so they can do it again, right? So anyway, she had this in her body. Well, something ended up happening where she got captured and put in a cell. And one of the guys that was in there, that was the guard, was going to try to hurt her. So what he did was he kneed her and punched her in the stomach and caused the drugs to explode in her body. But these drugs somehow changed the molecular structure of her system and made her into this being to where her brain went from operating at this level to almost at 100%. Her brain was at 70% in this movie. Her brain was at 70%, and she was able to change her hair color instantly. She was able to change people. She was able to read people's minds, and she was able to do a whole bunch of things that the brain, and she was able, when she hit 80%, I think it was 70 or 80%, she had got shot. It didn't bother her. Something had happened to her, and she did her own surgery while she's on the phone talking to her mother. She's like, "Mom, I love you." And the doctors are in there like, "Wait a minute, you need anesthesia." She takes the scalpel and cuts herself because she was able to block out that part of pain. We're not living to the capacity of how great Yahweh created us because of the society excuse me, because of where we live. This is true captivity. We live in a world where if you exhibit any type of greatness, it's only measured by what they say your greatness is. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes, sir.
So, in the Bible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there anybody in that book that's close to 80%?
I don't know. I mean, the men in the scriptures, like they were talking about the men of valor, like David's men. They were so fast, they was able to run over grass and didn't even bend the grass. Just. Then you talk about David himself. His ability to go up against a giant and defeat a giant and cut the giant's head off with his own weapon. One of the greatest superpowers that I see in here is humility. Humility supersedes the strength of Superman, the speed of the Flash. To be humble, you know how much strength you gotta have to be humble? You know how much strength you gotta have to take it and to still praise Yahweh? You talk about Samson. Samson, 7 locks. Samson was given the strength of 1,000 men. He took the jawbone of an animal and beat down a military who had shields, swords. But he took the jawbone of an animal and whooped them with it. That's a superpower. When Elijah and the young man was on a mountain, they were getting chased by the king, and they were on the mountain, and the king's army was surrounding them. And Elijah told the young man, just close your eyes. The young man closed his eyes. Elijah prays. The young man opens up. It's a mountain full of angels with swords. He looks at the young man, there's more with us than it is with them. You can believe that. Because you imagine the heavens opening up and you looking at this and you see these angels and they coming down ready for war to help save you. Let me show you something else too. Let's go here. This one here was wow. Let's see. Let me see if I can find it. I wrote that scripture down. Oh, here it is. Okay, check this out. Turn with me to the book of Joshua, chapter 10. Let me ask this question. This is one, I'm going to go ahead and do this trivia question. Let me ask you this trivia question. Which celestial, and when you talk about celestial, these are things that are in the sky. Okay? It says, which celestial bodies of heaven did Joshua command to stay still? What were the things that Joshua commanded to stand still while he fought in battle until he subdued the enemy? What did he say? What did he command to stand still? We're about to read it about it. We're about to read it about
The
it.
sun,
And what else?
the moon.
There you go. Turn with me to the book of... You all right? Okay. Turn with me to the book of Joshua chapter 10. In the book of Joshua chapter 10, my dear queen, would you start reading at verse 1?
Now it came to pass when Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, had heard how Joshua had taken Ai and had utterly destroyed it, as he had done to Jericho and her king, so he had done to Ai and her king, and how the inhabitants of Gibeon had made peace with Israel and were among them. That they were feared greatly, because Gibeon was a great city, as one of the royal cities, and because it was greater than Ai, and all the men thereof were mighty. Wherefore Adonizedek, king of Jerusalem, sent unto Hoham, king of Hebron, and unto Piram, king of Jarmuth, and unto Japhiah, king of Lachish, and unto Debir, king of Eglon, saying, Come up unto me, and help me, that we might smite Gibeon, for it hath made peace with Joshua and the children of Israel.
Now, they're warring. They're getting ready to fight against Joshua and in the city of Gibeon. They're about to fight against them. Now, I want you to check something out. Now, drop down to verse 13 and read verses 13 and drop down to verse 12 and 13.
Then spake Joshua to YAH in the day when YAH delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of YAH? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day.
Praise Yah. Now, once again, the book of YAH. This is for those people that don't believe that those books aren't relevant. Well, right here it mentions the book of YAH. No, the King James is not the book of YAH. Joshua, through the command of Yahweh, Yahweh allowed Joshua to tell the sun to stand still, the sun and moon to stand still. He told the sun, and he said, sun, stand still, moon, stand still. So now the sun is getting ready to go down. So around this time, it must be the evening. It's getting close to being dark. The sun is in its orbit. In order for the sun to stop, in order for the sun to stop, would that have meant that the earth stopped moving? Because you know the sun and the moon don't move. The sun, the earth is like 3 planets away from the sun. So the sun, earth is on what's known as an axis. So it's spinning. It's just not spinning in such a way that we can tell. But through Joshua's understanding, the sun moved maybe. But maybe what happened was Yah caused the earth to stop spinning while Joshua fought against his enemy. And when his enemy was subdued, could it have been? And I'm just throwing out here. I'm not a scientist. I'm not an astrologist or anything like that. But it's just a thought that once Joshua defeated the enemies, that he caused, then Yahweh released the earth and let it start spinning again. Everything went a course. I look at this totally different now. Sun stopped, moon stopped. The sun stopped, but the sun don't spin around the earth. The earth moves. Come on. The earth moves. And it moves like this. It's a sphere, so it moves like a sphere. That's why on certain parts of the certain hemispheres of the earth, you got like like right now in Africa, it's getting to be maybe early morning, maybe. Because as the day ends over on this side of the earth, it begins to, the earth is rotating now so that the one part of the earth receives the sun as well. So Yahweh deep. Unless I'm, if you're a scientist or astrologer, correct me if I'm wrong. But Yahweh, the sun don't move. It's the earth that moves. So does that mean that when the sun didn't go down, that Yahweh stopped the earth from spinning and let Joshua do it? Wow. What if that was the case? I'm going to stop the earth from spinning. Nobody else excited about that but me. I think that is so dope. Like, to serve an Elohim that love you so much that he does that. Let's look at another place. Yes, sir.
He said, the Almighty said to let the sun stand still, right?
Well, he didn't say it. He let Joshua have that control. He did the stopping. Joshua didn't stop it himself. Yahweh is the one that did the stopping.
I was about to say then, because if the Almighty would have said the sun stop, then that means the sun does move. But I was wrong.
Well, Joshua, yeah. No, Joshua is the one that gave the command. You understand?
It could have been where it was just stopped from going down. If the command was given for the sun not to move, it could have been where it just stayed in place opposed to going down.
Very good, beautiful. But even when it's going down, doesn't it take the earth to move in position in order for the sun to start? Because is it really that the sun is going down, or is it that the earth is moving?
The earth is moving, but since it said sun, I'm wondering about what it really was.
What you mean?
Like if he said he commanded the sun, he
Correct.
didn't say he commanded the earth to stop spinning. He commanded the sun. So
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. See, Israelites don't listen. I didn't say that he did. I was saying, what if? I was saying, what if? Well, here's the thing. In order, if the earth moves, and that's how the sun, we see it like it's going down, but it's really the earth moving. If the earth is moving, because Joshua gave the command, not the Almighty. See, the Almighty knows. Now, if the Almighty told the sun, like Elijah was saying, if the Almighty Yahweh had told the sun to stop spinning, then we would know, okay, then maybe the sun spins and we've been told wrong. But Joshua said, have the sun stand still. But when anyone in here that's a science buff, does the sun move? As a matter of fact, the planets are aligned, and you wonder, like, well, what's going on? Well, Yahweh allowed the sun to have a gravitational pull. The balance of it is held by the gravity that Yahweh allows to take place. So, how Yahweh has it is so deep. So the sun don't move, but the planet does. The earth does. So I just thought that would be kind of dope. Kind of like, man, Yahweh stops the world for the righteous. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 30. Turn to Deuteronomy 30. Yes, ma'am.
The sun does move.
Oh, it does. Okay, thank you. I didn't know that.
Wait, the sun move?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
The sun rotates on its axis as it revolves around the galaxy. Its spin has a tilt of 7.25 degrees with respect to the plane of the planet's orbits. Since the sun is not solid, different parts rotate at different rates.
So the sun does move. Praise Yahweh. I did not know that. I've always thought that it was the earth that tilted and did what it does, and then the sun stayed in place. Thank you, babe. I didn't know that. So I stand corrected. The sun did stop. So when Joshua said that tell the sun to stop moving, the sun stopped moving. Praise Yahweh. Praise Yahweh. Thank you for looking that up, babe. Verse 19 of Deuteronomy chapter 30. I need you to read verse 19 for me, babe.
Verse 19.
Deuteronomy 30
30
verse
and
19.
Oh, I had 19.
So the earth, the sun does move. My wife looked it up. The sun does move. So I stand corrected. Praise Yahweh.
I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live.
Now, the Almighty gives us a choice. I set before you life and death, blessing and cursings. So, it's in the third pocket, the big one, yeah. So Yahweh gives us control. He gives us the control of our destiny. That's all I'm saying. So no longer, I'm going to say this. Let's get off of our, as Minister Elisha would say, let's get off of our stool of do nothingness and get to working. Let's get busy. Because we are lagging because we want to blame the Almighty for for not having what we have. When all we have to do is work. Yes, ma'am.
And when you were saying that, I don't know, when you said somebody asked, like, we don't have our school, somebody
Yeah.
asked me that years ago in the court, I took the leadership, and I really didn't tell him anything. But you know what? The reason, this is me, I don't know, this is my thought. The reason we don't have our own schools is because we are lazy. We're lazy. We are very, very lazy. Now, I'm not going to put this out here, not yet. But with this grant thing, I did a lot of work, and I had to go from here to here to here to there to there, research this. And I went to all the Bible classes, and I personally got the application, printed it out. Now, if the Almighty blesses us, we get it. Thank God. But if not, I put forth some work, and then hopefully the other ones did. If they didn't, you know, and that's the way anything in life. If you want something, you gotta work for it.
There you do. That's right, you do. You do. That is absolutely the truth. So, praise Yahweh. Any comments or questions? All right. I'm going to read this beautiful poem that Yahweh blessed me with. Praise Yahweh. It reads, "Yah hands are built to carry the world. He, Yah, molded all in it by the flex of, excuse me. Yah molded all in it by the flex of his fingers. The winds are gathered in his arms as the rains are used to replenish hope to a dry spirit. So always look to the heavens for his, Yah's guidance." Praise Yah. So, that's basically, okay, we dealt with that one, so that's done, so I won't repeat that one. All right, so let's see. I would ask, what you guys, learn and talk, learn. But I guess today was just one of them days where, everybody kind of drowsy and tired. So I'll just go into why I taught what I spoke on. The reason that I did that is for us to realize that let's start forming our own destinies. And I'm not saying that to take anything away from my Father Yahweh. But what I am saying is, by working towards building our own destinies, we can do that and just ask the Almighty to be with us. Yahweh, please be with me as I become better and more efficient in this. Help me to become better in this, so that whatever it is that I want to be good in, I want Yahweh there with me. I want him, I need him there. And that's what I was really trying to get out of our lessons. And when I teach, I don't know how, when I'm in teaching, I really want to inspire us to be better than we were yesterday. That's all. People taking offense, people getting upset, people misinterpreting things. Of course, I can't control what the world thinks, but I can let you know that my intent is to inspire us to be better than what we were yesterday. That's all. Yes, ma'am.
Uriah said, "Beautiful class and lesson filled with wisdom." Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah. Thank you. Praise Yahweh. But that's what I want to do. When we walk out of here, too many times have we walked out of this place or walked out of certain places feeling down about ourselves, including me. When we walk out of this place here, I just want us to feel better. I want y'all to feel how I feel. Sometimes I'm going to tell you something. This week I'm going to share something with you. This week, sometimes I feel like I look at things through rose-colored glasses too much. That I'm not enough of a pessimist. That I'm too much of an optimist. And when it comes to Israel being better, when we walk out of this room, I want us to feel confident that, hey, I can serve Yahweh. Not I can serve Brother Michael or the house of Yahudah, but I can serve Yahweh. I want the world to, I want us to understand, those that's listening, that just because I choose to go get a haircut or go get my locks done, don't mean that I'm not showing humility. There's nothing wrong with wanting to look good and feel good. Sister Angela brought out an extra point that I'm adding in too about taking care of your health. Take care of your health. Eat better. Exercise. How about we spend less time on TikTok and go take a walk? Because let me tell you something. The things that we take advantage of now, you're going to miss it when it comes down to when it's your last day on earth. You're going to wish you took more walks. You're going to wish you paid more attention to the Almighty's creation. So, with that being said, praise Yahweh. Thank everyone for their attention. Y'all willing, hopefully next week we'll get into the fallen angels, because I still got to do fallen angels, and we'll do with the prophecies of Jeremiah. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Mom, did she have a godson named Jeremiah?
Oh, she do? Okay, that's what's up. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank the House of the Yehuda and our internet audience for being a part of our class. And again, we do appreciate any offerings and donations that you could give us. It really helps us. Again, I've said this a lot of times. We do not take tithes. We did in the past, and when we found out that it was not right and that we could not do it, we immediately, when I say immediately, came to our congregation to let them know. We could have kept it to ourselves, but we didn't, because that would not have been honest. So again, if you want to give a donation or offering, type it in here, and we would appreciate any offerings or donations that you give to the House of Yehuda. Thank you.
Praise Yahweh. Yes, we're very appreciative of the support and love that we receive. I want to share this with y'all. There was I love philosophy. And I want to share this philosophy that I want us to think about. That there is even a time where the optimists and the pessimists both do good work. There's a time where even the optimist and the pessimist does great work for the betterment of the world. The optimist creates the airplane. The pessimist creates the parachute. And there's another story that I definitely want to share. And this is just basically watch how we treat ourselves. My wife shared it with me. It's two of them real quick. The first one goes, there was a mouse. There was a man. I'm going to change some things up from what I remember. But it's going to be the same. Excuse me. There was a man and his wife. They owned a farm. They're on the farm. On this farm, there was a mouse that would come out every night. So this mouse, so the farmer found out about the mouse, set out traps. He set out a trap. And it was set out close to where the mouse would come out at, right? So then the mouse was like, man, basically, and I'm sort of jumping ahead. So then the man, so the mouse was like, man, I'm just hungry. That's all. I was hungry. So the mouse goes to the chicken. Tells the chicken, hey man, I ain't did nothing to this man. He set out a trap. Help me. Help. How should I get, he's trying to kill me. Help me. The chicken say, man, I ain't got nothing to do with that. I'm living fine. So then next night, farmer puts out another trap. This time he puts cheese on it. He said, man, he's trying to kill me. So he goes to the cow. The cow, he tells the cow the same thing. The cow says, man, I'm living life, man. I ain't, I'm chilling. You deal with that. That's your problem. So next night, same thing. This time he goes to the lamb. Says, man, this man is trying to kill me. Lamb looks at the mouse and says, hey, I ain't got nothing to do with that. As you can see, I'm loving life. Look how I'm living. I'm loving life. So one night, the farmer's wife comes out into the kitchen, and she was dealing with she had a medical condition, and it messed up her leg. Let's say it was her right leg. So she came out into the kitchen, and she steps on the mouse trap, right? And it breaks her toe. And the type of health condition she had, any issues like that was life-threatening. So husband rushes to the hospital, right? Doctor says, he takes it off, and they work on her, and they get her home. The farmer gets her home, and her foot is getting worse because of her condition. So he takes the wife back to the hospital, and the doctor says, well, due to your wife's health conditions, she's going to lose the leg and she's going to lose her life. So the farmer takes the wife back home. At night, she dies from her condition. The farmer didn't know what to do because she handled all the day-to-days. So the funeral was planned and everything. So he goes and he kills the chicken to make food for those who are coming to help him mourn. So once again, he didn't know how to handle the day-to-days of the farm. The wife was there to help, so he ended up having to sell the cow in order to maintain the farm. But he still was struggling. He didn't know how to cook. He didn't know how to do really too much of nothing. So he ended up killing the lamb to eat. And if my wife correct me if I'm wrong, but the moral of that story is you should never downplay when someone comes and asks you for help. Because the only one that actually made it through was the mouse. The farmer struggled. The cow and the chicken, or the cow and the cow, the chicken and the lamb are dead. So if someone comes to you for help, don't undermine their need. You help them if you can help them. The other part of that story is, as a husband or wife, learn each other's duties in the house. You know, men, learn how to cook if you don't know how to. Get in that kitchen. Because what happens if the wife can't cook? Because she's sick or she hurt. What, y'all gonna starve? Get in that kitchen and learn that. Learn how to cook. Learn the day-to-day business of your home so that, y'all forbid, one can't do it, you can pick up the reins. I got one more quick story, which actually led to the judging a book by its cover. This one is dealing with an affluent, very affluent neighborhood, very rich neighborhood, right? And there was a lady who had her husband had bought a house, and the husband dies, and he took care of a lot of the things too. So the wife she kind of struggled, you know, but it was a rich neighborhood. So what she did was she didn't break routine. Every day she washed her clothes, she washed clothes, and she would hang them out on the line. So nothing changed. After her husband passed, she's gotten the routine of washing her clothes out. So the wife, there's a woman that lives across the street, we're going to call her Karen. So Karen looks out her window and says, look at what she's doing. She's bringing the property value down. And then she don't even know how to wash. Them clothes are filthy. She talking to her husband. Her husband says, babe, cut her some slacks. He just lost her husband. So next day comes, the woman across the street is doing the same thing. At this point, the wife is like, okay, you know what? She needs to go. She don't even know how to wash. The husband goes, well, maybe she don't have laundry detergent. Well, she can go to a laundromat. Well, you know, maybe she don't have that access. Her husband did die. Cut her some slack. So then the wife, Karen, meets up with some of the people in the neighborhood, and they work to try to get her up out of there, right? So she goes to her husband and say, me and other neighbors, we met so we could get her up out the neighborhood. The husband says, well, why would you do that? You know, the woman's struggling right now. You know. So then one day the wife gets up and she looks out her window and she says to her husband, come here. Did you take her clothes and bring them over here and wash them? Did you buy her laundry detergent? Because look at her clothes. They're clean. Look at them. What did you do different? The husband says, no. I just washed the windows. Now the premise of that story is, don't be so quick to judge. Before you get involved in any situation, know both sides, if it's possible. Alright? So praise Yahweh. Any questions or comments?
No.
Is there anything that anybody would like me to teach on, y'all willing, next week? This is your time. This is your chance. Anyone that's listening, if it's a topic you want me to teach on, tell me. Alright. So we'll go ahead and we'll adjourn class. Elder Nestor, would you lead us in a prayer? Oh, would the boys like to sing?
Very.
Yeah, I am too. Okay. While we wait on them to get ready, once again, I want to thank everyone that tuned in. This week, when we leave out of here, I challenge everyone to look in the mirror and find the greatness in yourself. That's what I want you to do. Find the beauty in you. Because as long as we keep allowing the world to define what beauty in us is, we're going to constantly always be on the short end of the stick. I want us to realize that if you want to be great, go get it. Go get it. Don't let age, don't let so-called certain disabilities stop you from being what you want to be. And I'm going to say this within reason. If it's anything that's going against the laws of Yahweh, then of course, you know, you might want to be an aspiring stripper. I'm not going to tell you to do that. But I will tell you that if you want to be in a better position, go get it. But make sure that Yahweh is there with you every step of the way. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and pray out. We're going to go ahead and pray out.
He's so good at praying us out.
Who? We boring him.
No, what? You know,
I'm kidding.
he's not going to be bored next week because for one thing, I might do a presentation, and I would like for you to maybe do some research and do a presentation.
I've been told him to.
So he can sit down and listen to you.
I've been told him that, and been ready.
Something that you like. You won't be bored because you be doing research and you be up there.
And then you can see me nod out and go to sleep on your presentation. All right, we're going to go ahead and pray out. Let's face the east. Hold on one second. Let me get to it. And I want to thank you for being so patient too. I know you ain't expect to come here, but you did really good. And I know she was like, oh my gosh. All right, y'all.
I'm going to let my grandson, Yehuda, pray us out.
Okay.
Since he didn't want to do a testimony.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
I want to praise y'all for making this a great Shabbat day for all the people of Israel. I want y'all to praise everyone for waking up in the morning, for putting the breath in everyone's nostrils today, the breath of life, with Yahweh, all the glory, the righteousness by saying Hallelujah.
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 Praise somebody, Yah.
Praise the mighty Yah.
Righteous.
God's
God is
righteous.
holy. Yahweh be magnified.
Yahweh be magnified. Yahweh, please bless us and keep us. Yahweh, make your face shine upon us and be gracious unto us. Yahweh, lift up your countenance upon us. Give us peace. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Praise Yah.
Praise Yah.
Yah is righteous.
Yah is righteous.
Yah is holy.
Yah is holy.
May Yahweh be magnified.
Let Yahweh be magnified.
Amen. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. Yah willing, we'll be back next week. Starting, Yah willing, we'll be back next week. Thank you for your support, your love, and your kindness. May Yah be with us. May Yah bless us and keep us. Praise Yahweh. Shalom, shalom.
Oh, I'm going to go on that website